The Detroit Lions are coming off one of the best seasons that they've had in a very long time, and arguably since the NFL and AFL merger. In 2023, they were 12-5, winning their first division title since 1993, with this being their first as a member of the NFC North. That gave them their first home playoff game since 1993, as well as just their third since winning an NFL championship in 1957. They defeated the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round, winning their first playoff game since 1991, ending the longest postseason drought in the league. They then took care of business against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the divisional round, getting to their first NFC championship since 1991. Unfortunately, they squandered a 24-7 halftime lead to the San Francisco 49ers in the game, and subsequently lost 34-31, falling just one game short of their first ever Super Bowl appearance. Despite falling short of their ultimate goal, the Lions team of today is a far cry from what it was for most of the past 3 decades. With that being said, this series is going to take it all the way back to a time where this team was the laughingstock of the league, back when current head coach Dan Campbell was simply a tight end for one of the worst teams in football. Heading into the 2006 NFL season, the Lions were, for lack of a better term, a bit of a hot mess. They fired head coach Steve Mariucci midway through the 2005 campaign, and after the season they finally pulled the plug on quarterback Joey Harrington, who they drafted 3rd overall in 2002. With a promising quarterback draft class in 2006, the Lions were thought to possibly be in the mix as far as drafting a quarterback. However, they opted against selecting USC standout Matt Leinart and Vanderbilt product Jay Cutler, due in part to the acquisitions of veteran quarterbacks Jon Kitna and Josh McCown. Originally signing with the Seattle Seahawks after going undrafted in 1996, Kitna spent the previous 5 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals, whom he started for between 2001 and 2003 before being supplanted by Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Carson Palmer. After backing up Palmer in his last 2 seasons in Cincy, Kitna signed a 4-year deal with the Lions to compete for the starting job. Josh McCown was a 3rd round draft pick for the Arizona Cardinals back in 2002. He spent most of his rookie season backing up Jake Plummer and played very sparingly. In 2003, he remained the backup, this time to Jeff Blake, before replacing him for the final 3 games of the season, and he was most notable for throwing a game-winning touchdown pass in the final game of the season to defeat the Minnesota Vikings, keeping them out of the playoffs. McCown was named the starter in 2004, but after up-and-down performances, he was benched in favor of veteran Sean King, and then eventually rookie John Navarre. In 2005, McCown signed a 1-year extension, but was the backup to former NFL MVP Kurt Warner. However, Warner would get hurt early in the season, setting the stage for McCown to take his job back, but unfortunately he ended up losing it back to Warner. Now in Detroit, he has an opportunity to duke it out with Kitna for the starting job. The 3rd string quarterback for the Lions is none other than current ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky, who was most well known in his playing days for running out of the back of the end zone on a play for a safety. That should pretty much tell you what his prospects are for being a quarterback on this team. At running back, the Lions will depend on 3rd-year running back Kevin Jones. In his rookie season, he became the 3rd ever Lions running back to rush for over 1,000 yards, with the others being Billy Sims, and I'm sure you can guess the other one. For you Zoomers, it was Barry Sanders. Jones' IRL career was marred by injuries, but the hope is that he'll actually be the leading force of this Lions offense and stay healthy. Backing him up will be the rookie out of Wisconsin, Brian Calhoun, and veterans Sean Bryson and Artos Pinner. Calhoun didn't contribute much in his NFL career after tearing his ACL early in his career, so hopefully he'll do a bit better here, with him serving as the team's 3rd down back. Bryson spent much of his career as a backup, but he did start a few games for the Lions prior to 2006, and with Jones being the main bell cow, Bryson will mainly be the team's short yardage back as well as being the backup at fullback. Pinner more or less will mainly serve on special teams, but he could get a carry or 2 as well. At fullback, Corey Schlesinger was one of the longest tenured players on the team, but at 34, I may only get 1 or 2 good seasons out of him if I'm lucky. Wide receiver was a position the Lions invested a lot of their resources in during the early to mid-2000s, and this unit is led by Roy Williams, not to be confused with the All-Pro safety for the Cowboys. IRL, Williams had his breakout season in 2006 but didn't do much after, but in this franchise, the goal is to make sure his breakout lasts much longer. The number 2 receiver on the team is none other than Mike Williams. Not to be confused with the late wide receiver who played for the Buccaneers in the 2010s, or the current top receiver for the Chargers. This Mike Williams was one of the most dominant players in college football history during his time at USC. I just hope he pans out in this series a bit more than he did IRL, where he didn't contribute much before being traded to the Raiders in 2007. The other receivers fighting for the third spot include Corey Bradford, Charles Rogers, Eddie Drummond, and Scotty Vines. Bradford spent his early career with the Packers and Texans, and the seasoned vet seems to be the favorite to take the number 3 spot. Rogers, however, is looking like a monumental bust, and I could end up trading him at some point. Drummond will mainly be a kick returner, and Vines did show promise in 2005 and is a bit of a dark horse for the number 3 spot. At tight end, the Lions will depend on the duo of veterans Marcus Pollard and, of course, current IRL head coach of the Lions, Dan Campbell. Pollard spent most of his career with the Colts before signing with the Lions prior to 2005, while Campbell signed with the Lions prior to this season after stints with the Giants and Cowboys. These two will duke it out for the starting tight end spot, while Casey Fitzsimmons is locked in as the number 3 tight end. The Lions' offensive line consists of left tackle Jeff Backus, left guard Rex Tucker, center Dominic Raiola, who is indeed the father of 5-star quarterback Dylan Raiola, right guard and current ESPN analyst Damian Woody, and right tackle Kelly Butler. At defensive end, James Hall and Corey Redding will be the starting ends, while Kalimba Edwards and Jerry DeVries will be the main backups. At defensive tackle, veteran Sean Rogers enters the final year of his contract, being one of the most anticipated free agents of the 2007 class. He'll team up with former USC standout Sean Cody, with Marcus Bell backing him up. At left outside linebacker, Boss Bailey, younger brother of Hall of Fame corner Champ Bailey, will be the starter, with Teddy Lehman starting in the middle, and former Florida State standout Ernie Sims starting on the right side. Dante Curry, Paris Lenon, James Davis, and Alex Smith, no, not that one, will round out the backups. Dan Campbell's not the only current Lions coach who was on this roster. At cornerback, the Lions are led by veteran corner Dre Bly, who currently IRL is the Lions cornerbacks coach. At number 2, fellow 1999 draft class selection Fernando Bryant will play across from him. Fun fact, Bryant was actually selected over Bly in the first round, and yet Bly ended up having a better career. It'd be like that sometimes. Jamar Fletcher, Keith Smith, and Stanley Wilson round out the cornerback room. At free safety, rookie Daniel Bullocks will undoubtedly be the starter, while Terrence Holt, younger brother of Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer Torrey Holt, will be the backup. As strong safety, Kenoy Kennedy holds the reins, while John McGraw will be the backup. Jason Hanson, who I like to call Jason Handsome, remains the kicker, while Nick Harris will be the punter. It's hard to say just how well this Lions team will perform long term, but I fully expect the 2006 season in this franchise to be among the more difficult playthroughs that I've had. While these ratings seem high, Madden 2007 is notorious for being one of those games where everybody's ratings are super high, so have no illusions, this Lions team is absolutely one of the most low-rated teams in the league, and that will surely shine through early in the season, as our first 5 opponents are all higher overall teams than this lowly Lions squad. With that said, building this team up to be a title contender is going to be a chore, but I am more than up to the task.